Hey, what's good with you, Mr. Audience? How are you doing? Welcome to the news. So today what we're going to do, we're going to make you a little fake product. What is that product? Oh, it's going to be Gorgonzola cheese. That is your product for the day, Mr. Audience. That's you. I don't know who you are right this second, but from what I understand, from what about you, from what I've read from Spotify, the little tidbits, they speak Gorgonzola cheese. So your Gorgonzola cheese, it's on the backside of a mountain lion combined with a zebra. That is your logo indeed. And that logo speaks droves about your company, yeah. And that's in essence how we're trying to proceed, trying to find more collaborations and different sounds with some different folks from different strokes, and also trying to make a little bit of different media in terms of collaboration by having an essence form from the nature of a little bit of a character that can be stemmed from something that starts from a similar start point from the characterization of certain energies. And yeah, your little logo will be sweet. I promise I'll get back to you about that. We'll have to formulate you more as an audience, and then we'll develop more of a characteristic and develop more products as well between each other and such. But the Gorgonzola cheese, it's very cool because that logo is sweet. I'm going to get back to you on the drawing of it, but that's what we're going to try to start to do, is reach out to some random people and also have casts that are in the form of videos, hopefully to withdraw from some of that interaction and then take it and add to an audience base and then kind of recycle this whole process so that we can one day also formulate a vlog. Oh yeah, it's like Elon Musk. He's got different partnerships with different folks and such, but I'm trying to do that sort of with a lot more of a mad, like, numbers-wise. Increase the numbers to be able to do that a little bit more frequently, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, and just try to make more sounds so that we have more sounds, we have more of a sound base. We can develop also an ability to try to DJ somehow with some of those sounds. And make sounds, but also sort of products off the back end, like Gorgonzola cheese is actually a thing that can be developed, if possible, into a manufacturer. Oh yeah, I talked about in the first podcast when we actually kind of started this different style of podcasting that we would start in the direction of speaking about using energy that is day energy, because you have three types of assets every day. You have money, you have energy, like for your physical body's energy, and you have time. Those are the three assets to be able to use to build on a portfolio and grow monetary assets and grow money as time goes on. In essence, those three things are the main things. So if you have physical energy to begin with, to be able to not waste the physical energy every single day, and in doing that, that's sort of like an initial step to be able to develop sort of a grounds, which is actually what I guess I'm sort of doing now, because we started with that podcast and now I'm sort of trying to do that every single day, and in essence, sort of from that furnishing, trying to grow from that foundation, being able to try to grow from that little bits of fruit, is sort of an essential interest. And what I mean by that is that, like, if you have that first base of energy, just trying to develop this base of energy like I've been trying to do every day since that first initial podcast, in essence, talking about different things every day a little bit, it kind of develops this foundation so that money can be able to regrow from the some of the stems and the roots off of the side from that initial process of energy. And that's sort of the intention to begin with, is that there's different elements and plants to be able to grow from the sides from that, to be able to regrow money, to be able to not just have an energy base that has to do with social media and media making, and a base for familiarity and trust to be able to grow from a personal brand and such things, but be other things to be able to regrow off the sides of that. You can regrow money, so you can regrow seeds in the ground so that the monetary energy can actually grow from the main source of an initial furnishing of continuous brand making, podcaster, not just podcasts, but different types of media on a day-to-day basis, so to speak, or just familiarity that's growing in such, and trust and energy that grows from that as a foundation. Then as a second thing, as like if that's the soil necessarily, then you can put seeds in the soil in essence from that initial foundation furnishing of energy. That initial energy has to be able to cover and have a fertile nature for that to be able to grow, and all those other money seeds can be things that can grow, and you can grow them just like little weeds and such in the ground, little plants from different kinds of little vegetables vegetables and such things, but they're all from different forms of different potential energy. In essence, there has to be that potential energy, and inside there has to be demand market, and such. And then on the backside, the supply to be able to feed that, and that potential process has the ability to try to cycle in energy to be able to try to grow it, and try to grow it into a portfolio field of different items that can grow like money. So you can grow the money, grow the money like plants, in essence, or vegetables and such things. Hey, I was curious if you think I should try to do speaking as like the industry of speaking, you know what I mean? Like go out there and actually try to do this and such and get on stage and whatnot and just try to, spit random sounds and singing like it's supposed to be punk singing, but who knows what it actually is and such things. But should I just go out and try to do that? Like, like the TED Talks and things where people go out and they speak and stuff like professionally in weird instances and settings and such, where you set up like some touch points and then be able to try to talk to them like in the form of singing punk singing? Yeah, right. No, just kidding. No, it's too weird. I understand. Don't worry about it. Don't think too hard about it. I'm just kidding. Moving right along. To come in the podcast in the future, in essence, from the morning to the night, we're going to try to have consistent flows of differing strategies, different sorts of strategies, different sorts of energy compilations, and differing sort of calculations and different recalibrations of all those energies, in essence, to be able to kind of recycle all those four things, to be able to just consider, to ongoing thought processes in this fashion, so that ultimately there's more energies in all of those things, strategies, energy compilations, calculations, and recalibrations of all these items, so that those are all energies that are all part of a set, and they recycle one another, in essence, so that we just continue to build energy and build on past energy, re-existing energy to re-exist, compiling compilation energy that is trying to foundationally be dug up and found and repurposed and reconstrued, misshapen to be able to go back inside of one another so that these shapes are able to compound with one another as we grow, because we're trying to grow for them and mine them in differing ways that are interesting, so that it's a continuous, interesting source of energies that will try to recompile on each other in terms of different source of focuses and such, because hopefully there's physical examples to be able to try to back up and do actions to be able to follow through with them, and then have results to actually compare with those energies and comparisons, that is in terms of things to compare and contrast, because we're starting with things that are conceptual and then trying to move into them and actually do them and then make little results and somewhat do them and talk about doing them. Like the last podcast is talking about implementation and having the implementation be part of the process, and then actually trying to do that and use the item from the day before to be able to implement the process and such things, but then try to talk about the landscapes and the scapes of energy and be able to draw depictions and such things that are conceptual, but then be able to form them into actions and be able to try to do that. So to be able to eat, your own dog food in this instance, to be able to do both, to develop conceptual energy projections and such things, but then also actions behind them. So it's a bit of both, and then those things recycle upon each other, and those things all are recycling each other separately, but then also coalescing like in hand, like the infinity sign. All right, yeah. Like the initial example spoken about a couple minutes ago, like if you do day-to-day content, like developing soil, for example. But if you're developing content on a day-to-day basis, like you're just trying to develop a personal brand, but if you try to do this kind of thing, like this weird podcast that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, where you make foundational content every single day, as opposed to just every now and again or whatever, but just something every single day, because you use that energy, and that energy goes to waste if it's not used every single day, and if that energy is used towards a personal brand every single day, then it in essence can add up to something such as a tree, such as a tree in this forest, in this conceptual example where you're conceptually able to grow monetary energy off the sides of this. But the tree is in essence like its own little money tree, in essence, and off the side of the tree it's like little roots grow, and there's little roots that are growing, and there's different industries and such things, and that has the ability, when you look at it as a foundational tree, once you've got that foundational energy, but if it's like a tree in the forest, in essence, but you're trying to grow a garden and a forest off of the side of it, that initial tree, it's like something that stands strong, and it also teaches the rest of the forest how to exist, how to be. It's like foundational energy from that initial tree, and that tree stands over and towers over the ground below it, and it talks to it, and it tells it different things because it's already grown big, and it already has many cells that have grown out long and strong and such things, and that tree is a little bit different than just soil, and it's a little bit more powerful of an example when you think of it as a tree, when it's hovering over the the ground and has that ability and that power to be able to look down at the soil and tell it what to do, in essence, looking at it from above down to below, and then therefore that monetary energy that comes secondary to the tree that started to, because it's grown roots and it's grown strong, in essence, trying to grow strong foundational energy from doing consistent day-to-day content, because it's become something, because the form is unclear as to what it actually is, but it's something, and it tries to grow into something because that day-to-day content is used in energy that otherwise would be wasted, and then therefore it's being repurposed in a positive sense, in an asset sense, so that energy in a day-to-day basis grows into like a tree. And then from those foundational roots and that energy looking down at the ground is trying to pull up from the roots of different seeds that are being put into the ground, in essence, by pulling that foundational energy through centrifugal force, not centrifugal force, but static electricity or something like that. But it's some kind of foundational energy that's trying to attract two opposites that are trying to attract, in essence, that monetary energy is in the ground and that tree is in the sky, and it's trying to pull towards using the roots also in the ground to be able to push up the seeds up into the sky, so that the energy and the two things are talking to each other back and forth. And in essence, that foundational brand energy is trying to pull the little seeds into the ground, the monetary energy seeds into the ground that needed something to grow from to begin with, and also need to be taught how to grow from the tree. The tree is, in essence, teaching the seeds how to grow, because that foundational energy is sort of the foundational energy which is trying to push and pull and get the seeds to be able to have something to push on and harp on, so that they have something to grow, look up towards and grow to, and grow towards, and be able to told how to grow. In essence, they're all told how to grow based on the flow of the energy from the main tree to begin with, and then a garden can hopefully spawn from that, and then other more trees, and then a forest and such thing from that foundational energy, because that's the power of the energy that's within all people, because that's the power of the universe that's within all people, and that's the power of the infinite that's within all people. It's very unique and interesting and powerful, and I hope that somehow that makes sense, because it's just one tree in essence, but that's also from core roots, from being able to try to build this energy that just comes from a foundational sense and a foundational place that it's within, but it has to be sometimes dug up, and sometimes just doing this random spits like this of just that sort of random energy where it just comes out in the form of song or whatever it needs to be, or however it needs to come out in this little type of weird type of a spit in this type of a media development situation phase stuff, so type of a thing to get stuff out there to be able to be more familiarized in the market, hopefully, as time goes on, and such. Anyways, that's all for now. Hope you have a good night in addition. Thanks again. All right, cheers. Yep, no, never mind. Bye. Dinky Tehc, peace. Bye.